Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hello everyone, it's Jen, and today we are going to have a lot of fun with a lot of different Cricut products. So today I'm going to show you how to create, we're just gonna make a paper banner. So pretty simple, but we're gonna like spice it up a little bit. So this actually is much longer than this. It goes on and it says Lucky Charms, and it has all of the cute different little marshmallow like images that Lucky Charms cereal would have. So how I made mine, and I'm going to walk you through all of this, but I am using a collection of design space like elements and some images from Creative Fabrica. So as an example, like to show you, all of the letters and the banner pieces are from Design Space. So if you have Design Space, you can get them depending on whether or not you have Cricut access. You might have to pay. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't really check on the font. But the banner pieces and the font are all in Design Space. All of these cute little designs, these little, like I said, the marshmallow designs are actually part of a Creative Fabrica design. So I'm going to show you how, you may not know, like in Design Space, when somebody creates a project, they can't share with you a project that includes files that are not Design Space files. So that like prevents people from like sharing designs that they purchase that they don't have the right to share. All of that. So that's why like you'll find a lot of times that people are like, you can get this design at this link, which is what I will do for these marshmallow little elements. There'll be a link below the video so that you can find those. So what I did to make this a little bit easier for you is I have the design saved in Design Space that has all of the banner pieces and the font pieces. So that part is already set up with some just blank banners for all of the different elements. So if you want to add in all of these cute little elements, I'll walk you through that process, like how to open the file and then how to upload the file from Creative Fabrica. You'll see that it is a little, because of how this file is, I was having a hard time finding a design that was like the cute little marshmallows where they were an SVG file so I could get the layers, but that they were also individual that I liked. There are some out there, but I felt like they didn't really look like the cereal marshmallows, and I really liked that idea, like that look. So the design is actually set up to be like a tumbler wrap. So you're going to learn a lot. If you like watch this and make along with me, you're going to learn how to use a lot of the different tools. We're going to use contour, we're going to duplicate, we're going to group, we're going to do all that kind of stuff and walk through it like one step at a time in Design Space. And so I feel like, oh, and we're also going to use offset. So I feel like this is, if you're trying to learn Design Space, this might seem a little bit overwhelming, but I promise if you just take it like one thing at a time, it won't be bad. Like it'll be great. Anyone can do this. The other thing that I'm doing today, so I just want to call this out before we really get into all the supplies and everything, is I am using some materials or some tools that you might not have, and they are not a necessity to make this. To make it exactly like I made it, you will need them, but you don't have to do everything that I did. One of the things that I'm using today is the Cricut Cuttlebug. It is one of my favorite Cricut machines, and they stopped making it, and that really makes me sad. So I'm gonna grab it really quick. So this is what the Cuttlebug looks like. It looks like a little purse. It's pretty heavy. But what it does is if you have like, I want to say like a Sizzix, things like that are similar, but this was the Cricut version. And then it allows you to like emboss, deboss, however you want to, depending on the thing that you're using. It allows you to do that. So I'm using that today to add a little bit of texture. You'll see to some of my designs. I did not use it on everything, but I used it on some. So like I'm going the wrong way. The rainbow here has none at all, but then on like the hat and the star, I did use it. So it's just the little Swiss dot, and I used it on all of the letters just to add a little bit of extra texture. This is not a necessity. I just thought it would be fun to do, and I wanted to use my Cuttlebug for a little while, so I figured this was a great opportunity to do it. The other thing that I'm using today is I am using some foam. I call it like 3D tape, like foam tape, and that gives you like the lift. You can see like it, again, it's just adding like a little bit of dimension and stuff to what would just be a plain paper banner. If all you have is a tape runner, that is fine. You can make this project with a tape runner. If I had gotten it out, like the other thing that you can do, and I have done it in the past, is if you have a glue gun, even if you don't have the 3D tape, if you have a glue gun, you can add like a little bit of glue, like a dab of glue to the back. And then what I have done is like I push it down, and then while it's still hot, like lift it a little bit. And then when it dries, you have like a little bit of bulk. It keeps you from having to do like a ton of glue in one spot. So that's another way that you can try. I would definitely test it out on not your banner to like get the hang of it. But it is another way to get that like raised look without having to have those if you don't have them on hand right now. Really? In the grand scheme of things, the only thing that you need to make this project is a cutting machine, cardstock in the different colors, and is that it? The cutting machine and a cutting mat, the cardstock and the different, and an adhesive. Those are, if you want to just make it as simple as possible, those are the only things that you need. I just used some other things that I had on hand to add just a little bit more to it. So let's jump in. We'll look at the supplies, and then all the supplies that I used. Remember, I just made that clarification. You don't need everything that I have. But let's look at the supplies that I used, and then we'll jump into Design Space, and I will walk you through the process of getting all of this set up. But I do feel like I did a lot of the hard work for you. I found the font, and I have that part all set up. This is not a gigantic, I mean, it's going to be long, but it is not a gigantic banner. I think it's like 4.5 inches. Like each one is like 4 or so inches tall. But I'm going to add it here behind with my pictures and stuff, and I think it's going to be really cute. I'm really excited about it. So let's jump in. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the supplies that we're going to use. You are going to need cardstock in a variety of different colors. So I am using pink, yellow, blue, 2 different colors of green, purple, this kind of golden, almost orange, a lighter green. I think that's all of the different colors, but you'll be able to see on the canvas screen in Design Space like exactly how many pieces of each. So I did 12 by 12 everything, and so I needed 3 pieces of the dark green and then just 1 piece of everything else. Oh, white's the other color that you will need. I use a brayer always to put cardstock onto my mat. I did use these tweezers. I found them pretty helpful with removing the backer off of these like 3D foam adhesives. So you only need like one or the other. I did use a mixture of different 3D adhesives because it worked well for the different spots that I needed. I am using a Cuttlebug. This is optional. So this is the Swiss Dot Cuttlebug folder, and then the Cuttlebug itself, light grip mats. I like to have a lot so that I can just be ready to put the next one in. If you only have one, you'll just have to trade it out. A tape runner. This is for the layer that isn't puffed out. And then I'm using the Explore 3. You can use any Cricut machine for this project. Just obviously based on the size of your material and the size of the mat and stuff that you're using, you may need to have more mats going through the machine, but none of these designs are too big to be able to do even on the Joy. I'm going to show you how to take this really cute banner and personalize it a little bit. So this banner is actually created here in Design Space. So all of these banner pieces and the fonts are all Design Space fonts. So if you have Design Space, you may need Cricut access, or you might have to like purchase one of the files or whatever, but you will be able to open this file And I'm going to show you how to add other elements to it that are not in Design Space. So I already have my image uploaded, but I'm going to come over here to upload. And then this is the image that I'm going to use. It's this really cute Lucky Charms like elements, the little marshmallows. And this is a design that is actually in Creative Fabrica. So I got this from Creative Fabrica, which is why I can't just share it, because you can't share uploaded designs like this. So this is an SVG file. So I'm going to show you how to take it, and then we're going to add it here to our blank banner pieces, and it's going to be really cute. You're going to love it. Okay. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to get rid of the majority of this. I only need one of each of these elements. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my layers panel. I'm going to click on the side here, and you can see that everything is sorted out by color. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ungroup this all so that they're each an individual layer. And then I'm just going to come here. So this is whichever color, I can't even tell yet. I'm going to click on contour down here. And then we can see these are just the little shamrocks that are on the leprechaun hats. So I'm going to contour away this one, and I'm going to keep this lower one. Everything that I keep, I'm going to keep over here on this side so that I'm just keeping all my pieces closer together. Okay, so now we have just this one shamrock here. Now I'm going to go to the next layer, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click contour, and I'm going to keep one heart so I can get rid of all of these other hearts. I'm going to keep one balloon so I can get rid of these other balloons, and I'm going to keep this one piece of rainbow so I can get rid of these pieces of rainbow. So now we're going to go ahead and close that, and you can see that I've lost, so that was my pink layers. Now we're just going to continue to move on. So this next piece here, I'm going to keep, I'm not keeping any of the little stars just because they're not part of the design that I'm doing, but I can just go through, contour all these out. So I have this piece of the shooting star here. I can get rid of this one. And then I have this piece of the rainbow, so I can get rid of this one. I'm keeping this part here. It looks like a little cloud. It's actually the top of the gold, pot of gold. So I'm just going to go ahead and contour away everything else. So you can use this panel over here for contour, but it doesn't, like I could have done that for the little stars, but it doesn't, you don't know where they're located at. And like I said, I know I'm trying to keep all the things on that side. So now I'm going to come down to this next one. We're going to go ahead and click contour again. So I'm going to keep this moon and this rainbow, and then I can get rid of all of my other ones. And now we're going to come down to the next one, and this is my pots of gold. So I'm going to keep this pot of gold up here so I can get rid of these ones. And then I kept my shooting star that was on here so I can get rid of all of these others. And then we'll come down here, contour again. I'm just going to keep this. These are just the purple, so these are all the horseshoes. I'm going to keep that one that's up there in the corner. And then same here. So we know we want this this hat down here because that's one that I kept the shamrock on. So I can get rid of all these others. And now when we come over here, you can see I just have these here. I wish that was all we had to do, but there's still more that we need to do because we have multiple things for different colors. So I'm going to, like this one here, it's the only one, so I don't need to do anything about that. But here I have 3 colors, which means I'm not going to be able to separate these out. So now what I need to do is I need to duplicate this layer twice. So now I've got that duplicated twice. I'm going to move this one over here and this one over here. So on this layer, for this one here, I know that I want to keep the part of my rainbow. So I'm going to come in here to contour. I'm going to get rid of the balloon and I'm going to get rid of the heart. And so I'm just keeping that rainbow. So now on this one, I can get rid of the balloon and I can get rid of the rainbow piece. And that leaves me just the heart that I just warped. Just the heart that I don't need to resize yet. Just move. And then on this one here, I'm going to keep just the balloon. So I can get rid of my horseshoe or my rainbow piece, and I can get rid of the heart. So now I have individual pink layers that are the balloon. Oh my goodness. Just let me move it. This is hating me right now. Maybe if I make it bigger, it'll be easier to move. There we go. So I have just the balloon, just the heart, and then just my little rainbow piece. They're all individual. Now I'm going to click on the blue, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it. Oh wait, that I guess was my yellow layer. So we'll go ahead and do that one again. So now I have 3 of my yellow layer. And on this one, I'm going to keep just my rainbow piece. So I can get rid of this one and I can get rid of this one. And I have just my rainbow. And now on this one, I'm going to keep just that shooting star. So I can get rid of the rainbow and I can get rid of the top of the pot of gold. And then on this one, I'm going to keep just the top of the pot of gold. So now again, we have all of these individual pieces. So now we can click on the orange, go ahead and duplicate that. And then for one, I'm going to get rid of the pot of gold. And then for the other one, I'm going to get rid of the 2 other parts of the shooting star. So you can see we're just getting more layers here so that everything is an individual layer. So my purple is already fine. Now I just need to do this last green, this lighter green. So we're going to go ahead and say duplicate. On this one, I'm going to get rid of my hat. And then on this one, I'm going to get rid of that extra shamrock. So now we have all of our pieces. So you can see like everything is individual. So now what I want to do is I want to line, I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger. So now I'm not going to resize anything yet because I want them all to be the same size still. And I want to just reline these things up. So we'll zoom in a little bit more to make this a little bit easier to see. And obviously, I'll show you. The only reason that I'm really worried about this right now is because I'm adding an offset. So I want the offset to be around the whole thing, which is why I'm worried about lining it up. It is going to cut out of 2 different colors. So I'm going to have to manually line this up on the paper anyway. But for this particular case, I want them set together. Oh, I have to, apparently I didn't contour away that guy. Now we're good. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing here with my rainbow. Okay. I have the blue that I need to duplicate. So on this one, we're going to get rid of the rainbow piece. And on this blue, we're going to get rid of that moon marshmallow. Okay, now we should have them all. So here I have my rainbow. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make that a group so that it all stays together for me because they're already lined up exactly how I need them. I'm going to select these 2. I'm going to make them a group. So now as I move it around, it's all one piece. I'm going to take these 2. I'm going to make them a group. Anything that is multiple pieces, I want to be a group. And then I need to find my other portion of my pot of gold. So I've got my pot of gold here. Zoom in a little bit more and I'm going to move the top. So because I didn't resize any of these things, they fit together like they were originally. So now I have those 2. Can select both of those, make them a group. So anything that's 2 colors, you want to go ahead and group together. And now everything is individual layers for each of my different Lucky Charm elements here. Now what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and make our canvas a little bit smaller. Now what we want to do is we want to start laying them out on our banner pieces so that we can just decide. And I just eyeballed this. I kind of tried to make them close to the same size, but because they're all different shapes, it doesn't really work. Like if I make them all 2.5 inches tall, some of the things are going to be really wide and it just doesn't work really well. I do recommend, so I'm adding an offset to all of these. I do recommend before adding that offset that you resize it about the size that you want. When I was playing with this originally, I did find that when I added the offset and then resized, that the offset looked a little bit thinner. So I'm just doing it this way. So now that we have this here, that's about the size that I wanted. I think it looks great. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and then I'm going to hit offset. And I have my offsets for my layers are set at 0.05. And then we'll go ahead and say apply. So you can see it's just that nice little offset. And then I'm going to change it to white. And then I'm going to repeat this process for all of these. What I'm also going to do individually is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on all of this, and I'm going to create another group. I do want to make sure that I get all of those layers. So right here, it doesn't appear that it's selecting all of these. So I'm going to go ahead. Nope, I don't want those. Oh, that's why it's doing that. Okay, nope, we're good. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to go ahead and say, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my banner piece, my offset, and my rainbow, get all of those selected, and then I'm going to go ahead and group it again. So now I can move this banner piece, and all of the pieces are going to stay together for me, which is what I want. I think that's great. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing with my little shooting star here. Going to make that a little bit bigger. Then we're going to come up here to offset. It's already set to the 0.05. Click apply, change that to white, and then I'm going to select all of those and hit group. And now I'm just going to continue to do this for all of the pieces. You can decide how you want them laid out. That doesn't really matter because it's not going to matter once everything's cut out, but this will just give you an idea of what your project is going to look like. And there you have your now customized or added elements, however you want to call it, design here in Design Space. So now you can save this and have it set up so that it will cut out everything. Again, like I said, because all of these little marshmallow elements are from Creative Fabrica, I can't upload them and then share them through Design Space. But because the banner pieces are in Design Space and the font is in Design Space, I can share all of those pieces, and then you'll just have to go through the process of uploading, doing all those little things that I did to separate the designs and stuff. I could not find another, not in Creative Fabrica anyway, Lucky Charms design that I liked all of the pieces of. Some of them are just like had too much or were kind of weird. So this is the one that I ended up using, but obviously you can use something else. You could choose to just do all shamrocks or whatever, but I'm going to show you how to do this one. Here I'm just cutting out all of the different designs out of cardstock. I used the medium cardstock setting in Cricut Design Space. All of these different cardstock colors are Cricut cardstock. So that setting worked really well for me. If you're using a different type of cardstock, I would go ahead and do a test cut before you begin to make sure that you're getting a nice clean cut for all of your designs. Okay, so now we're gonna remove this from the mat. And especially when it comes to cardstock, I like to get my material off the mat by rolling the mat away from the material. This keeps the material from like bending and rolling. You can see like my paper is still very flat. I don't have to worry about like it being rolled up. But one of the things that I feel like I hear a lot from Cricut users that I personally have never really dealt with is I feel like all the time I hear about like how expensive mats are, how, you know, like they don't last, yada, yada, yada. I want to call out, like, I have mats that I've had forever. And I think that that's because I, from the very beginning, have been very big on like mat care. So I try not to like get anything like really stuck on them. I do clean them when needed as far as like scrapers or whatever. But the biggest thing that I do is I always replace my carrier sheet or the like protective plastic film. So the easy way that I found to do this is just to roll it up a little bit, and then you're just gonna line it up. This helps make sure that it goes on pretty straight. And you wanna just keep that adhesive area covered. Like obviously the edges are not adhesive, like all around here is not adhesive, but you want to keep that adhesive area covered because your mats are going to last a lot longer if they don't get dusty and like hair and things like that stuck to them. My mats last a really long time, and I cut I'm not very good at being like, oh, this mat is only for, vinyl, and this one's only for cardstock. I don't even separate them that way. The other thing that I would say is that another thing that can really like help make sure that your mats last a long time is to find the correct cut settings for the material that you're using so that you're not cutting into the mat more than is required. All right, so now here's all of my pieces for my banner. There's a lot of them. So now it's just the assembly process. However, I was thinking that it would be fun to break out my Cuttlebug. I don't know if you have a Cuttlebug, but it is one of my favorite Cricut tools, and they don't make it anymore. I don't understand why they don't make it anymore because I think it's fantastic. But it's no longer available. But because it's not an electronic, I feel like you could probably find one for sale pretty easily. So like resale. So this is what it looks like. It's just this cute little machine. Looks like kind of a little purse. And then I'm just gonna pop it open here. It has been a minute since I've used it, so just make sure it's all dusted off. And then you have different, so it's like, it's an embosser. It can also cut things, but you have these different things. So this is like a Swiss dot sleeve. So you'll put your thing in there, and then you put these, and then you run it through. So I'll show you how to do this really quick. I'm trying to decide what parts I want to do this with. I know for sure I'm gonna start with one. I think it will be really cute to do like the top of the gold, like the pot of gold. So I'm just sliding it in there, and then what you do is you sandwich this between two of these B plates, and then we're gonna put it on the A plate. So they've each got a thing on them, and it does tell you like make sure that your designs are above this area. And then we're gonna slide it in here and then just run this through. So depending on the thickness of your material, I'm pretty sure there are other plates that you can like layer. But let's just take a look and see how this turns out. Okay, so look how cute this is. It's super easy, and it just gives you some really fun like detail. So now I need to decide what other pieces I want to do this with. So I'm not gonna do, so my white is just gonna go behind all my letters, but I think that looks really cute. I think I'm gonna do all of my letters. Obviously, this is just an additional step that I'm doing. You do not have to do this, but we do wanna make sure that we have everything going the right direction when we put it in the folder. Otherwise, like if we look at this one as an example, you'll see it's like embossed on one side, but like debossed on the other. And I don't want them to have both. Like I don't want some to be embossed and some to be debossed. And so for instance, like this is gonna look like this, and that'll be super cute. So I do think I'm gonna go ahead and do all of my green letters. And I'll probably do like the top of this little shamrock because this is gonna go, it's like layers on top of my hat. And then I was just thinking of things now. I'm also gonna do, maybe I'll do this one. I was gonna do like the shooting star itself, but I think it might actually be cute to do the box part that goes around the shooting star. I just need to look and make sure that I'm doing it the right way. So this actually lays like this. So I wanna make sure that I put it in there that direction. And I'll probably just actually start with this. So I'm just gonna place these in here. Shamrock doesn't really matter. But then for all of these letters, I just wanna make sure that I am doing them the correct orientation. Remove these. And then I can just, see I've got a bunch on here. I can just close this. Okay. So we're just gonna do this again. And look at how cute those are. So again, totally optional, but fun. Well, here I am just getting everything laid out in a way that it's going to be put together. This way I know where all of my pieces are. I just find this a little bit easier to do before really getting into the adhesive so that I don't confuse myself and get things mixed up. So you can do this part or you can just work on one banner piece at a time. It's totally up to you. All right, so now I have all the pieces laid out. So now it is actual assembly time. And I am gonna use a combination of like 3D little foam adhesive and a tape runner. So I have this tape runner that is just a glue dot tape runner. I don't know if you can see, it just has like all these little tiny little glue dots. So I'm gonna use that. And then I have a variety of different little foam tapes. So I have like this. So I've got this one. So we'll stick it on here and then so that gives me an idea. So it'll have like some good dimension on it, which I do like. I think it adds a lot when you're doing like all paper banner pieces. And then again, you can like lay these however you want. I like the idea of some of these little like the parts that are like the marshmallow, you know, the cereal marshmallow ones, being a little off to the side a little bit. So I'm not gonna have this just sit straight up and down. I'm just gonna just put it off to the side a little bit. And then just make sure that we're doing this the right direction. And then since we have this, the white part lifted off, I'm just gonna attach this part straight on. I think that'll work well. I wanna try to make sure that my outline is looking similar all the way around. And then now that I know I want to do my, the white layer as the part that's lifted up, I think I'll go ahead after this and locate all of these before I add it to the banner, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna add like the top pieces before I add it. But so there you go, you can see it's got like a little bit of a lift, a little bit of dimension. It's gonna be super cute. I'm really excited. And the magic of video, here is a very sped up time lapse of me assembling the whole banner. So how you choose to string these is totally up to you. I am going with just a embroidery floss because the little slits in the banner pieces are not that large and they're kind of close to the top. So I don't want to try to do something like a twine or something like that that's a little bit thicker. So I'm going to use this. I have this needle. I just have white embroidery floss. So I do have my design because it's the way that I wanted it pulled up in Design Space. I have everything laid out how I wanted it. So I can reference that to hopefully keep me from putting things in the wrong order. And then I'm just stringing, so I want the majority of the white to be behind. So I'm going in at the top on the right-hand side and then pulling it through and then coming in through the bottom on the left side of each banner piece. And then that way, when it's strung through, the majority of the white is at the back. If you wanted to do it the other way, if you're like maybe using like a cuter, you know, ribbon or something, you could definitely do that. Take your time when doing this. The slits are small and close to the top and you don't want to tear through your paper. And then how long you choose to leave your string is completely up to you. I think it would depend on what space you're wanting to put it in, how much string you need, and then whether or not you choose to have, so like right now while I was stringing this, I have all of my pieces really like right next to each other. So I want this to go on my cabinet that's behind me. So I'm gonna want it to be quite a bit longer than this. So I have the, you know, option of separating them out and having more of a gap between, but there we go. We've made a really cute St. Patrick's Day Lucky Charms banner. That's everything. That is how you would make this banner exactly how I've made it today. I know that it maybe felt like a lot, but I do think that as you get going, It's not like it. Nothing about this is hard. Oh, I just think it's so cute. Nothing about it is hard. It's just not, if you do everything the way I did it, it's not a quick like 5-second project or 5-minute project. It is going to take a little bit of time, but it is not a difficult project at all. It was easy to do. Turn on a book, like an audio book or a podcast or something, and then you're in. Like, you can do this. I really do like the texture of the Swiss dot, but I wanted to show you that you don't need it. Like, I think this is just as cute as this. You don't have to have the Cuttlebug in order to make this project. You don't have to have the 3D foam tape to make this project. You can make it just with your Cricut machine and cardstock and adhesive, no problem at all. And I still think it will be really cute. Anytime I'm making a banner, I really do like to have that dimension of having it like lifted off the page a little bit. I do like that dimension. It's not a requirement. It's just a personal opinion that, you know, just like layering paper can get a little bit flat looking. But again, like I said earlier, if you have a glue gun, I think that you could get this similar look. I do know that we talked about a lot of different things. Again, I showed you how to take a design that's already in Design Space and then upload a design that's not in Design Space and add it to it. And then, you know, we went through the whole process of contouring out part of the image that we didn't need and then duplicating so that we could have individual pieces all set up and the offset and all of that. We did a lot of things today. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to leave them in the comments. I hope that like maybe like if you watched it through once, like that you were like, oh, but then like as you watch it again, it's like, okay, this makes sense. I understand. So I hope that like as you're watching it, it like starts to make sense and you're like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. It's not hard. It's just doing things in the right order. But please do not hesitate to ask any questions in the comments. I'm happy to answer them for you. And yeah, if you, all the files, so the link to the Design Space canvas will be down below. The link to the Creative Fabrica file will be down below. If you have a Creative Fabrica subscription, it will be included in your subscription. All images are included in the subscription. If you don't, then you do have to purchase it. But they do free trials and stuff like that. So if you haven't done one of those, I would take advantage of it and, you know, go in and get a few files that you can use. I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you learned something new. And if you did, I would love for you to follow along here on my YouTube channel and also to give me a thumbs up here on this video itself. That would be awesome. If you have somebody that you want to craft with you, send them the video. Just be like, hey, we need to get together and make this. As I said, you will need multiple pieces of the dark green cardstock. But outside of that, if you keep everything the same size that I have it, even the white, everything else fits on one less than one 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. I think that's everything. Again, any questions, any comments, anything, leave them in the comments below, and I will be happy to help you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.